Some FIFA World Cup news. About 19,000 people have canceled their tickets to the FIFA World Cup 2026 due to safety concerns in the United States. I've looked up other numbers. It kind of varies, but right now, like I said, it's about 19,000. It's a major bummer. This is a big deal for us to get this, along with Canada and Mexico. And this is happening. But it's understandable. It's understandable why they wouldn't want to come here. I don't know, man. Would you cancel? We're so different than other countries, even just how we live our life daily. And who wants to come here if they're not feeling great about it? So such a bummer, such a great opportunity to do this. And I hope the numbers don't get too high, but I have a feeling that it's going to.
So World Cup fans are like, you know what? Over 25,000 World Cup fans have cancelled their tickets of the games of the World Cup in the US. Remember, the US was supposed to be hosting World Cup alongside Mexico, alongside Canada. And guess what? There were 3 major US cities that are supposed to host the World Cup. Basically 3. And that is New York, Miami, and...
Hot take. I looked at the astrology for the World Cup, and I do not think it's going to be held in America. And I say that because I looked at the U.S. birth chart. Saturn is going to be transiting square the U.S. sun the whole month of July 2026. Saturn represents blocks, delays, restrictions, authority. When it's square the sun, that's a country's identity. So you would expect a country to be recognized if they were holding the World Cup, not blocked or restricted or limited. Also, Saturn's square sun can show problems with external authority figures. So I do not think the World Cup is going to be held in the United States. I'm not sure about the Olympics. And I just realized transiting Saturn will be opposite the U.S. natal Saturn, which is even a bigger deal. The World Cup will not be held in America. And I'm sorry I'm talking weird. I still have stitches in my mouth. But I'm telling you, the World Cup will not be.
What options does FIFA have here? I mean, is there any precedent at all for FIFA to take some kind of action in cases like these? Because has this happened before?
This is unprecedented, but FIFA has a few options. The first option FIFA has is that it can suspend or ban a national team from the tournament. This has happened before, most recently in 2022 when Russia was banned from international competitions following its invasion of Ukraine. Second, if a team chooses to remove itself, then FIFA can replace it with another team. Third, FIFA can do nothing, which is sort of what we're seeing happen right now. And I spoke about this with Jules Boykov. He's a professor of political science at Pacific University in Oregon. I asked him about what he thinks will happen, and he responded with a maritime metaphor.
We're in uncharted waters right now. This is absolutely unprecedented. And FIFA absolutely has its hands full, especially with that precedent with Russia. I don't imagine they're going to do anything that resembles what they did with Russia, especially given the Masters is the host of the actual tournament here this coming summer. But if it were to act in accordance with its principles, and if it were to act in a consistent manner, that would have to be on the table, removing the World Cup from the United States and figuring out a new way of going.
All right, FIFA World Cup fans thrown into more catastrophe if they haven't already canceled. This will affect FIFA. The Trump administration has banned visas in 75 countries. If you did not know, World Cup soccer fans come from all over the world to see this. So for the few ones who were coming who didn't cancel their tickets, because that is a whole disaster. If you did not know, the USA is being boycotted. One of the 3 big tournaments is in the United States of America. I guess thousands of people are canceling their tickets to the World Cup. But this extra ban on visas will definitely affect who can come here. Do you live in one of these countries where the visas have been restricted? Have you canceled your plans to come to the USA FIFA World Cup? drop a comment and let me know. My name's Christina. I have a master's degree in business and I do live in the USA. And I'm curious, have you canceled your plans to FIFA World Cup?
So overnight, 17,000 more tickets were canceled for the World Cup here in America. Now, if you are living outside of America and you're still planning to come here in June to attend the World Cup, just do research, especially if you are from a country in South America, Central America, Africa, even places like Portugal, Spain. Just do your research. Now, if you are in like England or Australia, you are probably safe, but those other countries, definitely do research before getting on a plane. Because right now in America, ICE agents are going up to anyone that is black or brown, questioning them. And all of these people are US citizens, right? And they're asking for identifications, harassing them, and in some cases, arresting them for no reason. So I just want you guys to do research before you plan on attending the World Cup. And we're also getting information that a lot of people, a lot of US citizens, their passports are all wonky, meaning they are flying out of the United States, getting to their destination in another country, and their passport is being reported as lost or stolen, so they can't, and they have to fly back to America. So I don't want that to happen to y'all. Just I'm not going to tell you to come or not to come. Do your own research, make your own decision, but it's not.
Are you thinking about coming to the United States of America for the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup?
Hey! Honey. No. Somebody assault us. Just say off. Get out.
This is currently Vermont in the United States of America. This is ICE agents, our own taxpayer dollars hired ICE agents to harass citizens of Vermont. This is still while Minneapolis, Minnesota is also similar to this. If I was you, I would not come to the United States of America. It is not safe for even the citizens, let alone the updated threat risk to the USA by Iranians. Have you canceled your plans to come to the FIFA World Cup?
Why am I hearing that the World Cup is not happening anymore? Or maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, I made a song for the World Cup. Let me know if it fits the World Cup.
J'y pense souvent, je dis que c'est rien. Oui, j'y pense souvent, I just can't get enough, 'cause I know it. Allons-y.
There are reports coming out right now that nearly 25,000 fans have canceled their 2026 World Cup tickets for matches in the United States. And before anybody jumps in, yeah, the numbers are not completely confirmed by FIFA, but the reason people are canceling en masse matters. And I'm sure these numbers will continue to grow. Fans are saying the same thing over and over, that the US feels unsafe, obviously, because of the political climate, because of immigration enforcement, because we're living in what is giving totalitarian regime, because people are watching videos of ICE grabbing folks off the streets, of families disappearing into detention, of travelers being terrified they won't even make it out of the airport, of people being literally unalived by the Cheeto Puffs Gestapo. And people are asking a very reasonable question. Why would I spend thousands of dollars to visit the US that's openly treating immigrants like this? Why would I be supporting a fascist country? FIFA wants to pretend that it's politically neutral, but that argument collapses when their president is handing Donald Trump a made-up FIFA Peace Prize, praising him publicly and cozying up to this administration that's actively creating fear and harm. That is not neutrality. That is alignment. That is capitulation. That is bending the knee. And look, demand for the World Cup, let's not pretend it's not massive. Let's not pretend tickets aren't selling. This isn't about empty seats. This is about who feels safe enough to sit in them. Frankly, the US should not be hosting the World Cup or the Olympics. We got no business doing any of this. And I'm saying this as someone who's a huge sports fan. I love the Olympics. I love the World Cup. But what are we doing? If international fans, players, and workers are scared to come here, that's clearly a sign of human rights issues. But you're really not paying attention if you needed this to be your sign. Sports do not exist in a vacuum, and although things are very much giving totalitarian regime right now, I'm glad people are boycotting with their wallets. We may potentially see a pulling back in response to this, but to be honest, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen from this administration. We all know that a big goal is to avoid the midterms at this point. So the president of FIFA is going to see in real time that bending the knee and being so spineless and quite frankly so bitch-made was extremely fruitless.
And if you're still going to the 2026 World Cup in America, then congratulations, you may now be the only one, as now thousands of people throughout the world are now cancelling their World Cup tickets in protest of the United States and in hopes to get the entire thing cancelled. You see, already 17,000 fans throughout the world have already cancelled their World Cup tickets in protest against the United States. And that number is only climbing. Now, America really only has itself to blame, as the calls to boycott the 2026 World Cup mainly came from tourists feeling unsafe, especially within the US's current political climate. And to be honest, can you even blame us, as not even US citizens themselves are free from being beaten, harassed, or even kidnapped by ICE? Already, countless stories regarding ICE mistreatment on European tourists, other tourists, and even US citizens alike, causing many people to ever fear going to the United States ever again, and let alone going for the World Cup, as what civilized country treats their own citizens like this? Hell, even a Lebanese diplomat and UN consultant Mohammed Safar has actually publicly cancelled his tickets himself for similar concerns, with him even stating himself that he no longer feels like the United States is a safe place to visit anymore, and further linking his decision to human rights.
Got you. So, here we go. These guys are like, you know what? We are not going to participate in the world. We don't want to be part of this whole thing. Why? Because there's no fan fest shows which have been organized, and even the officials and other government people are like, oh, the US, the Trump administration, not the American government, has not yet funded basically the things which are required for the World Cup to make it more very interesting, like the fan fest. You know that? And then the others are saying, no, these guys have not even given us there's no single coin that has yet been released towards the World Cup, yet they're running out of the time of organizing. So they're wondering, is it even going to take place?
The World Cup is in a lot more shit than we think it is. In Boston, Foxborough Stadium is already saying that if they not receive $7 million within the next few days, there will be no games held in Boston. Now is Miami sounding the alarm. Miami saying that they have not received a penny from the federal government as it was promised, and that if they do not receive the money within the next few days, they will have to start making cuts to security, to maintenance of the stadiums, and the fan fest itself. And then you have New Jersey, who has said that they have not received enough money, and they have no money to support the fan fest in the place where the final of the World Cup will be. What is the common thread on all this? The federal government does not deliver the money they promised they were going to deliver to the stadiums, and the stadiums are calling their bullshit because at the top of the ticket is a guy who is known for not paying his fucking bills. And then FIFA, on the other hand, is saying, I'm just here to play, man. You got to pay for everything else. I'm not going to talk to anybody. So what is the situation in the U.S.? We have two of the major places where games were going to be held, where some of the most important games were going to be held, sounding the alarm that they will not have money for security, for maintenance, for customer service, for everything else that involves, including the fan fest, which if you're not a soccer fan, a football fan, you don't understand the importance of the fan fest. But that's where we are. So is the U.S. ready? Fuck no. I'm Alex. This is my rant.
Take place. The way things are going, they're like, no, even the tourism in the US, the tourism sector has fallen by 5%. 5%, that's a very big net. And they're like, okay. If this goes the way it's going right now, they're losing out. They're losing out over 30 billion in terms of domestic income. How do you call it?
Boycotting the event in Washington. The United States has denied visas to several of their top football officials. FIFA must use its influence to call on the US government to uphold human rights and discriminatory travel ban.
FIFA have already handed so much control of this tournament over to Donald Trump that he feels like he's untouchable.
World Cup 2026 was supposed to be the greatest moment in the history of football. For the first time ever, the biggest sporting event on the planet would be hosted across 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico, with 48 national teams, more than 100 matches, and millions of fans traveling from every corner of the world to North America. This was meant to be a festival of humanity, a World Cup promised as a symbol of global unity. Now imagine this. You spend 2 years saving money. You buy the tickets. You book the hotel. You tell your child that this summer the whole family is going to the World Cup. Then your visa application gets rejected. No clear reason, no appeal. Just one cold word on the screen, denied. This isn't one person's story. It's the reality facing hundreds of thousands of fans from Iran, Syria, Nigeria, Ghana, and dozens of other countries as they try to attend World Cup 2026 matches on U.S. soil. And it doesn't stop there. FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani was forced to acknowledge a shocking truth. Buying a ticket does not guarantee entry into the United States. For the first time in World Cup history, a senior FIFA official openly admitted that the ticket in your hand could become meaningless if the host country's immigration policy won't let you cross the border. There's more. If your national team makes it all the way to the final ticket prices alone, excluding flights, hotels, and food, can exceed £5,000 per person. FIFA has said nothing about these prices. No explanation, no justification, no commitment to protect fans. Even more astonishing, even citizens of Canada and Mexico, the 2 official co-host nations, are not exempt. They still face visa barriers when entering the U.S. portion of the tournament. When a host nation builds walls even against its own neighbors, the world starts asking a simple question: who is actually welcome here? Last month, an emergency closed-door meeting took place at the headquarters of the Confederation of African Football. No press release, no official statement, but within hours the message leaked out. Member federations were seriously discussing the possibility of withdrawing from World Cup 2026. This is no longer an empty threat. South American nations are beginning to coordinate a common position. European federations are openly criticizing the U.S. hosting conditions. The International Players Union has issued a joint statement demanding clear answers from FIFA about the safety and rights of players and fans. And during qualification matches, symbols of protest are starting to appear quietly, deliberately, and impossible to ignore. And then a familiar voice speaks up from Zurich. Sepp Blatter, the former FIFA president who ran the organization for 17 years, declares that hosting conditions in the United States are unsafe. He urges national federations to seriously consider a boycott. Other former FIFA officials echo the warning, calling it an organizational disaster, a phrase never before used in the history of preparations for any World Cup. Beyond the football world, international human rights organizations step in. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch publicly condemn the entry restrictions as anti-sport and fundamentally opposed to the spirit of unity behind a global event. BBC, Reuters, and Al Jazeera continuously update visa denial figures, analyzing how U.S. policy is undermining the tournament's universality. This is no longer a boycott pushed by a fringe group. This is a wave. But the real question is, where is FIFA in all of this? Los Angeles, New York, Miami, the 3 biggest U.S. host cities for World Cup 2026. And the same 3 cities now witnessing immigration enforcement raids by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, escalating to levels unseen in modern American history. Pause for a moment and picture this. While organizers install LED screens inside stadiums, print banners welcoming the world, and market America as a destination of celebration and joy, on the streets leading to those very stadiums, armed agents are carrying out immigration arrests. No distinction by nationality, no distinction by reason for entry. A 37-year-old woman, a mother of 3, is not an exception. She becomes the clearest human image of a policy running in parallel with World Cup preparations, and the world has seen it. The consequences spread faster than anyone expected. Foreign journalists accredited for the World World Cup begin receiving warnings from their editors be cautious when reporting in U.S. cities. Some diplomatic staff report harassment while moving through urban areas. Several countries issue official travel advisories, not for a war zone, but for the host nation of World Cup 2026. This has never happened in the history of the tournament. The question now being asked by FIFA national federations and millions of fans is no longer diplomatic or polite. It is blunt. It is concrete. Can the United States guarantee the safety of players, officials, and international supporters throughout the tournament? Because the World Cup is not just football. It's
Okay, the income that is supposed to be received during that World Cup whole process is supposed to be over $30 billion, and they're like, hey, they're going to lose out on this. Why? Because of the war in Iran. And they're like, no, they'd rather go to the Canadians or to Canada or to Mexico. Why? Because they feel safer there than participating in the US. And remember, the World Cup was supposed to be the quarter-final games, and the final stages of the World Cup were supposed to run in the US. That is how it was planned out to be. So LA, people are like, now, I don't think so. New Jersey, they're like, nah. And Miami, they're like, of course, you know, Miami, they're like, nah. So Boston, they're like, gosh, they may not have this stuff here. So I don't know, but right now it's very risky. They're like, suppose these guys send us a hypersonic or whatever, they feel unsafe basically, and they're not happy. People are just generally not happy. Apart from feeling unsafe, they feel the efforts of the government is more about foreign policy than domestic. And guess what? Also, there's this ICE thing, and then there's the visas being cancelled, and so they're like opening up the visas for the people who want to come for the World Cup. But they're like, no. Even Iranians are like, okay, you want to give us visas, but they're not willing to come for that World Cup. So, what is your take about this thing? Just listen to this.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.